Vertical and adjacent angles. Objectives: identify the properties of adjacent and vertical angles. Differentiate the adjacent angles and vertical angles. Find the pair of angles through the illustration given. Adjacent angles. Two angles are adjacent when they have a common side and a common vertex or corner point and don't overlap. For example, angle ABC is adjacent to angle CBD because they have a common side, the line CB. Next, they have a common vertex, point vertex, the common endpoint of two or more rays or line segments. The example vertex is shown in the given illustration below. The lines don't cross. The two lines that define the vertex meet at their endpoints. If they cross, the point where they cross is called the intersection of the two lines. It is not a vertex. What is indecent and adjacent angle? The first picture are adjacent angles because they share a vertex and the side. The second picture are not adjacent angles because they only share a vertex and not a side. The last picture are not adjacent angles because they only share a side and not a vertex. Don't overlap. Also, the angles must not overlap. The angles shown are not adjacent angles because angles A and B
Vertical angles are the angles opposite each other when two lines cross, or a pair of non-adjacent angles formed when two lines intersect. Vertical in this case means they share the same vertex or corner point, not the usual meaning of up-down. Based on the picture, example, A and B are vertical angles. The vertical angles are equal. A is equal to B. In fact, they are congruent angles. Angles AOC and BOD are a pair of vertical angles. Angles AOB and COD are also a pair of vertical angles. Notice that vertical angles are never adjacent, they never share a side. For example, angles AOC and AOB are not a pair of vertical angles, but they are adjacent angles. However, vertical angles always have a common vertex. Here, each pair of vertical angles share vertex. Examples of vertical angles. Based on the illustration, the vertical pairs of angles are as follows: 1 and 6, 2 and 5, 3 and 8, 4 and 7. In this picture, we see two vapor trails that intersect. Therefore, they have created a pair of vertical angles, labeled as 1 and 2. Another picture. Here is a pair of vertical angles formed in nature, and that are more terrestrial. Angles have special names identifying their positions with respect to the parallel lines and transversal. They are corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior. What is corresponding angles? Any pair of angles, each of which is on the same side of one of two lines cut by a transversal and on the same side of the transversal. For example, angle 1 and angle 5. Angle 4 and angle 8, angle 2 and angle 6, angle 3 and angle 7 are the corresponding angle. What is alternate interior angles? It is a pair of angles on the inner side of each of those two lines but on opposite sides of the transversal. For example, angle 2 and angle 8, angle 3 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. And last, what is alternate exterior angles? It is a pair of angles on the outer side of each of those two lines but on opposite sides of the transversal. For example, angle 1 and angle 7, angle 4 and angle 6 are alternate exterior angles.
Created using Powtoon.